You have to be competitive, but you have to be competitive against yourself.
Today we welcome Zahir Abdelouhab, the Vice President of EMEA at Navan. In this deep dive masterclass on how to thrive in first line leadership, we explore the struggles.
If you do that, if you focus on that, you're gonna burn your career.
The common mistakes.
I got pressure from the top management. I need to put pressure on my team.
Yeah.
That doesn't really work.
And highlight the best practice that will elevate your career. This is his playbook.
This episode is brought to you by Pipeline Generation AI, an account-based intelligence platform that drives high-quality engagement with your top target accounts. Welcome to Hunters and Unicorns. I'm Simon Kouttis and I'm joined by my co-host Ollie Kuehne.
Welcome back to the show, everyone.
And it's an absolute pleasure to welcome Zahir Abdelouhab. Zahir, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me today. Hi, everyone.
It's great to have you on the phone, Zahir. On the phone?
Not really.
In the studio.
It's an early start,
it is.
Ollie.
It's 20 past 8.
By way of an introduction, you're SVP EMEA at Navan, and we're very excited to welcome you today and talk through your career. But today we really want to focus on first-line leadership as a real kind of a real theme. It's well documented that the first-line leader job is the hardest role in software sales. What are your early experiences of first-line leadership? What were your early challenges?
First, let's define why it's the hardest job. Because in our world, we don't promote people because they are or they will be the best managers. We promote them because we think that they're top performers and the top leadership is just expecting them to do 5x or 6x what they have done alone, right?
Yeah.
It's the very first reason why people are promoted in our world, okay? So the expectation is for those people to do the same thing that they were doing as an individual contributor, but at scale. The problem is when you get into this position, your first, I will say, instinct is just to go and focus on revenue, because you don't want to drop this, right? So first, you don't know how to manage people, and you are kind of lost. And you have, I think, the disillusion of the young manager, which is you get there, you inheritate a team, your peers are reporting to you, all of a sudden, and you realize that they don't work like you. And obviously they don't, because you are the one who was promoted, one, and two, everyone is different. But you are not explaining this, no one is telling you this, it's normal, how to manage this, how to handle it. So second, you have to hire, this is what they tell you. But how can you hire someone while you have zero experience as a leader? What's the pitch, what's the talk track? So you are kind of lost in, okay, I can't hire someone at my level outside, I don't know really how to manage those people, and maybe I should, if they ask me, and it was the case in my first couple years, they asked me, what do you think about the team? And for everyone, I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't think it's going to, I'm not sure it's going to work because I see how they work and it's far from what I do naturally. So anyway, you are kind of lost. And what they tell you is okay, what about the forecast? How much are you going to make? So basically, the natural behavior is just to be a super sales. So instead of being a leader, you are just a super sales. And you have 3, 4, 5 person in your team, and you just run after all the deals. And it's not sustainable.
So based on those early experiences, how did you then start to navigate and transition and help talk us through that process for you?
Yeah, so it took me a bit of time, I would say, because basically what you do is you just, you try to retain people, but not the right way, because the truth is you don't really know how to develop them, because developing people means understand where they are, understand what are the patterns of what grades look like, and teach them how to get there, right? And you just run after your forecast quarter over quarter, and you're in a position where you are close to hit the wall, and at some point you will. And what needs to happen is someone to come to you and tell you, you know what, you're going to hit the wall, so stop here. And two, you need to stop operating as you do, because it's not going to work, it's not sustainable. So slow down, and potentially allow yourself to fail. Don't worry about the forecast next quarter, but do the right thing, focus on people. And then slowly but surely you shift, from being a super sales to getting success through people and betting on people, having the best people next to you and teaching them to get to success. And then, you know, it's moving from a negative spiral into to like a positive one, which is like getting to success through people. Okay? And I think in this process, one thing which is super important is start with hurt. And what I always say to people is like, lead with love. Because your tendency as well in the first period is also maybe to be too hard, because you don't want to disappoint people, you don't have your own style, you want maybe to mimic or to like copy the style of the leaders that you have seen. You know, at the end of the day, you are not yourself. So you need to find your own style. I find my style after a certain time, you know, I understood that, yeah, my style is to be like super close to my people. And, you know, like don't listen to people who tell you, no, as a leader, you need to be that way or that way. So for instance, I remember one of the leaders back then was telling me, like, you can't be too close to your team. I disagree with that. I'm super close to my team now. I'm like super accessible. I'm super, because I know exactly what they have in their heart. I have their best interest at heart. It's super important. And being like so close to those people and being, you know, on day-to-day accessible and really caring about them, then you can, on the other side, you know, always raise the bar because they know it comes from a good place, right? Yep. So you need to find your own style. I think it's super important. And then you need to know how to hire. So let's be very practical here. When you are a young leader and you don't know how to hire, how do you do that? You want top performers. So the way to do it, instead of just going there and being randomly, oh, like I'm super leader, but you have like 12 months of experience, how can you pitch that? Well, you find a way. So I was going out and saying, okay, I was like reaching out only to top sales outside and telling them, hey, I'm not going to teach you how to sell. Obviously, you know how to sell and maybe you're better than me. And I hope you're better than me. But what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to help you to ramp as fast as possible to get my job as soon as possible. This is what I'm going to do for you. And then you have like top performers who come and say, okay, I want to work for you. And say, no, I work for you. Like, I'm going to help you. My only job here is to get me to my point as soon as possible. So then you start to have like the right people next to you, right? Then you sit down and you understand what it means to develop people. What are the key patterns or that you want to teach to people? And there, again, there is no magic wand. It's not about, the playbook magic wand that if I touch you with this wand, like you're going to become magic and everything is easy. No, it's about taking the key concept and dissect them to the, you know, finest level that you can, okay? And taking hours and hours and hours to talk about first meeting excellence, about PG, about go-no-go meetings, about value pyramids, about whatever is a concept. But at the end of the day, you switch from being a super rep to like really investing in people, and don't focus on the result, focus on the process. And the process as a leader is people development. Yeah. When you do that, the results will come by themselves.
Obviously, you speak about embracing failure, right? And as somebody that is at the top of the game, you're the highest performer, you've become comfortable in an environment where you're succeeding. Can you take us back to that point of accepting failure and being able to transition and learn from those mistakes, and how you embrace that actual moment?
Well, this one is super hard because where does it come from? On one side, you have this failure thing, but I think the biggest thing behind it is you don't want to disappoint people, right? Because you have like people that you respect, that you see as, you know, mentors. And I gave you the names of people who, you know, trusted me back then. So you're like, you know, they believe in me. I can't let them down, right? So it's about expectations, right? But the day I've understood a good leader is not someone who delivers numbers on a quarter. It's someone who can hire, develop people, and get to success through those people, right? In a consistent way. Consistency is super important, but the way to get to consistency as a leader is to have enough people performing in your team so you can compensate each other, and at the end of the day, it's linear, right? So it's also about you internally shifting about what gets you excited. At the beginning, and I remember that, I still have, like, I would say, the, you know, like, when I smell blood, like I get excited on the deals. Like,
you get the buzz.
The smell of money, you know, and on a deal, I still get excited about it. But the truth is, I really shifted when I got excited about seeing people successful and not me closing, the bigger deals and getting results and everything. And I think it starts with yourself. It's not about expectations. It's not about what gets you excited and what do you want. So once you understand that you can be only a good leader and you're going to be judged about the people that you bring in, the people you develop, and two, getting satisfied not by the deals which are closed, but who did it, who did you bring in, how people are developing, this is where it starts. And then you give yourself time, and yes, at one point you have to accept, like maybe for 1 or 2 quarters, I have to accept to like fail and not deliver what you expected. And again, you are first line leader, so you have, in your region, there are other first line leaders who can compensate for you during this period. This is why it's a team play, it's a team play. But you have someone above who has to come to you and tell you, hey, like, yeah, it's fine. You know what? Don't worry about the result for the next quarter, but I really need you to fix your team and to really fix everything, around how you operate to make sure that then you have sustainable growth and performance in your team.
Yeah. It's a really interesting point, and we hear this conversation time and time again around the timing of it. When is the right time, and how do you know it's the right time for you to now make that next step? Because I think everybody sees career progression, I'm a top rep, I now need to get into leadership, then need to get into second line, and they see that's my growth trajectory. But when and how can we use your experience to offer to our listeners about how they know that it's the right time to make that decision?
Okay, it's a very important point.
Thanks to our sponsor, Pipeline Generation AI, the platform that researches your top accounts, creates insights and assets to help you engage more effectively. Elevate your conversations and transform your pipeline with Pipeline Generation AI today.
You know the rule of 10,000 hours, right? To master a topic.
Yeah.
Well, did you break it down into years? How many years does it take to spend 10,000 hours in our job? If you consider, I've done the work with some reps, right? It's nearly 10 years. And I did spend 10 years on the ground, on the field, selling again and again and again and again. So you need to master a topic and you need to be ready. So I would say that's part of the answer. But first, I never asked for any promotion. You can, any of my promotion, my career path, none of it, never. You don't ask for promotion. Go to the right environment, fast growing, be the best at what you do, deliver consistently. I guarantee, sooner than you expect, someone is going to tap on your shoulder and say, hey, you get a bit too much comfortable here, you're going to get to the next step. We need you to deliver the next thing, right? And sometimes it's not what you expect. Maybe something is side work that is like mission critical for the business, and you have to do it. But anyway, to your question of when is the right moment, you don't decide. Someone is going to tell you. You have to trust your leadership. So the question is, where do I want to work? And you have to go for people, to go in an environment which is fast growing and where you can be developed. If you do that, trust me, they're going to tell you when you're ready.
So obviously you've now transitioned across the various kind of levels, right? When you're assessing your teams, or what are the lenses that you're looking at to say, okay, this person is ready, right? And obviously time is one thing, but in terms of the conversations, when you're looking at your team and assessing, okay, who should we bring through? What are the things that you're considering when thinking, okay, we're ready to take a chance on this person?
Like to promote them, you mean? Yeah. Okay. The rules are 3 rules. 1, you need to deliver in a consistent way, 2 quarters in a row, and have I would say visibility on success for the next quarter as well. So being consistent is super important. 2 is execute by the book. And I will come back on it on why it's so important. So that means that you need, we have magicians, right? We have people who do that stuff in their own way and they're super successful, but they don't really play by the playbook. You don't really know how they do the things. They have artists, we call them artists. Yeah. It's fine if you have an artist in your team, keep the artist, it's fine. Let them do what they do, but it's not replicable, right? Because you can't teach magic. That's the thing. And 3, it's you have to have a business need, right? And then you play between 3, right?
I want to understand, obviously at the beginning, we've spoken a lot about the surviving in first line. Talk to me about how we then start to transition towards the peak of the first line.
I think when you start investing your time, and it starts with really like time management. How much time do I spend on deals versus developing people? So first is hiring. How much time do I spend on hiring? How much time do I spend on developing people versus jumping on deals? In this moment, you have to understand and you have to put yourself a rule. I don't jump on the field except if it's to teach something to someone.
Interesting.
And I was saying, and it's a rule that I have made clear to my team.
Yeah.
I'm happy to jump, but if I jump, it's not to score, it's to teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And then you only focus on the gaps. And then you don't focus on the result, which is what deals do I need to like making my numbers, blah, blah. You focus on, okay, what is missing to this person in my team to get the deal that we need? And how do I jump, but use this time to develop this person to be able to do it by themselves after? And then there is a process. First, you show.
Yep.
Okay, you do it in front of them. Second, you let them do and you kind of jump to like help them do it the right way. And 3, you let them do. You don't jump, you just give feedback at the end.
Yeah.
Prep and feedback are super important. If you don't do that, then you are just jumping to like score every time. But then you have to switch off. Okay, you want me to jump, super happy, but let's identify what is missing. What do you miss here to do it yourself? I can show you, I can help you to do it, or I can just give you feedback at the end. This is development. So you focus on development.
Yeah, it's really interesting because there was a penny drop moment for me, and I'm sure anybody listening to this, in the early stages of a sales leader, it's probably tell, less show. And as you become a better leader, it's more show, don't tell. And I think there's probably a transition of, do you know what, my instant reflex is, okay, this is what we need to do. Let's get in, let's get this problem solved. And then you go through this transition. Okay, so yes, we're getting that deal done, but how am I developing that person?
And then you focus on other things. So then the question is, what are the indicators? What do you need to focus on? How do you step back? You need to step back.
Yeah.
I think you need to feel better. That's also the point. You need to listen to your gut. So first is like, are you yourself? This point is super important. Like, are you faking your role, or are you faking who you are as a leader, or are you really yourself? And when you realize that you're really yourself, this is where you become powerful, because this is where you start to inspire people. Be yourself. So first indicator, are you yourself, or are you still playing a role of trying to imitate people? 2, do you have to jump every time to fix the situations, or do you start to have like strong engine in your team of young talent that you have hired, and you see them growing and they are like more and more autonomous? Like, it's another indicator that you need to follow. And you see that at the end, you switch from a situation where every quarter you are like sweating because you're like super short on closing the quarter, to a situation where actually you just focus on people and your life becomes a bit easier. And then instead of focusing on the numbers for this quarter, when you enter a quarter, you have enough coverage that you know you're going to make it, because statistically you're going to make it by focusing on the people. Then you can enjoy developing them. And then what you look at is next quarter. So then you have this leader role, a leader view at looking at the numbers, not for the current quarter, but one quarter ahead, right?
It's interesting. I think right now there's a lot of shiny objects. There's a lot of shiny companies. We're on the dawn of the AI. There's lots of really great opportunities and companies out there. But I actually want to really focus on the importance of not only choosing the right companies, but choosing the right people. Because I think a lot of what you've spoken about now, there's a lot of people that want to accelerate their career. They want to go as fast as they can in as short a time as possible. What is your view on choosing the right company? And what do you think is important based on what we've spoken about to help you accelerate your career?
Well, so first of all, what you said before, I think doesn't exist. When you say accelerate your career, go as fast as possible, blah, blah, I don't know. Like, if you do that, if you focus on that, you're going to like burn your career. So if you look at maybe there are other ways, but my way is, if you look at my resume, I always stayed 5-6 years in every company. And in our world, it's super high, right? It's super long.
Yeah.
It's super, super long.
Yeah.
But I think you need to stick to it, because this is where you learn. And for me, someone who just said like 2 years in an environment, like, what do you learn? It's not sustainable. And to your point of, the next shiny company, like, let's talk about Europe. Give me one name of those shiny companies who were around like 3-4 years ago and are still here today. Like, you don't have so many. I would say my 3 criteria to join a company, one is people. But you say about people is like, do I have inspiring people there who can really teach me, who can become new mentors for me? And the point is, you don't need one mentor, you need many. You're gonna learn different things from different people, and you need to embrace it. It's super important. Second, for me, criteria to join is what is a market, what is a product. Do we have something which is really differentiating, but also do I have the ability to have value selling with this product? Is it just a commodity or is it a real value selling play? And do I have a market where I can expand and like really have where like we can see the company will dramatically grow because it will bring a lot of opportunities. Okay. And third for me is the vehicle. Vehicle is like who I am when I join the company, who can I be when I leave the company, right? What progress can I make there? Like, do I have space to grow? Do I have space to become someone else? Can I learn new things? And I've learned very different things in every different company that I've been before. Okay, and I think it's really about you realizing that you are at a very, like, you need to choose the right horse, I would say, but when you're on the horse, don't fall. Don't leave after 2 years because, maybe they didn't give you the promotion you wanted after only 18 months. Stay there. Stick to it. Like, be committed. You're going to learn a lot, and the opportunities will come after. At the end of the day, you have to join a team, not one person, and you have to look for what can they teach me. And it's like linked to the vehicle that I, talked about before. Can they teach me something new? Yes, it's a new world. So embrace difference. Don't look for like people for like. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in a world forever.
Yeah. When you actually start breaking this down into, we've only really just focused on, one key component to this and one key, I suppose, trait, which is this super rep, your sales manager. But a first line leader, what other traits do you see as common mistakes that first line leaders make when it comes to making that transition from a sales rep into a sales leader?
What I said before about faking, I think it's maybe overplaying your role of, I need to be tough on people. Like I got pressure from the top management, I need to put pressure on my team. That doesn't really work. You need to hold people accountable. But this is why, like, I'm saying you need to like win their hurt first, and then you can raise a bar. And then you have a very different relationship. A common other mistakes is trying to clone people. I want you to be like me.
Right.
It's another big mistake that we've seen. And then, it's about like turning it into, okay, I want to understand where you are, who you are, and how to bring you to your top potential. Okay. One other mistake is, jumping on every single deal and doing the job instead of your team.
So tell us a little bit about Navan right now. So you're going through quite an interesting transition right now. There's a few rumors about what potentially the next 12 to 18 months could look like. I don't know how open you talk about, exits and stuff. I don't know what we can and can't share. But obviously, tell us a little bit about what's happening there right now and, what you're building and the momentum in the team.
Well, I never heard anything about anything of the future. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I have absolutely no clue. But if you have rumors, tell me, because I really don't see what you're talking about. No, I think Navan, I joined 3 years ago. I think it's a very interesting experience there because we started from scratch in Europe. And I think we're like few reps in the UK, absolutely no one in France, Germany. And now we have in go-to-market around 150%, thousands of customers. And we have a very high growth in Europe and in the world. And that's good because EMEA is one of the growth engine of the company. I don't know how much figures I can give here, but we are doing very well, okay, and we are to the point to I would say landing a new company in Europe always, but also in the US goes, in 3 phases: seed, growth, and scale. And we are to the point to scale, which means that we are adding like third line leaders in every country. We are dramatically growing the different teams, and I think the business is doing well, and that gives us an opportunity from a sales organization point of view to also develop the careers and give more opportunities to people to grow and everything. So when we talked about it before, I think not a lot of companies have succeeded over the past 3 years in Europe, and we are one of the few companies who are getting to the point to scale in the future.
Well, there's sort of obviously very ambitious plans, and to your point, there is an incredible team there, right? And so obviously I know you've invested a lot of time in getting those foundations right, so you can really start to see the momentum. In this world of software sales, there is a lot of ambitious people that want to go fast. They want to get forward in their career. They want to achieve as much as they can in a shorter time period. And to be fair, that's quite a natural instinct to have, right? It's especially if you're competitive by nature. There's a reason why you're in sales and you do what you do. But the reality is that if you skip the steps, a bit like deal navigation, if you skip the steps, they will actually slow you down. And the reality is that if you focus on the right inputs from a career perspective, just as much as you focus on the right inputs from a deal perspective, and you navigate those and you really plan those out in the right way, and you make sure you're building in the right way, actually that's what gives you a much higher ceiling in terms of what you can achieve in your career. And I think we've spoken a lot about first line, but actually it's those fundamentals that have allowed you in your career to not have to ask for a promotion and to continue to just grow and develop and naturally fill the voids that we've been able to see.
Well, what you say is very well. You have to be competitive, but I think you have to be competitive against yourself, because there is a beauty in our world is sales don't lie. You have the number, and there is only one judge, is your performance at the end of the quarter, right? So I think it's good to be with people who are better than you. This is how you learn, and learn to, it's super important. I remember the last time I was a rep was at Mongo. When I joined, I felt that I joined a team of so talented people. I've learned so much from them, and all of them now are like leaders in the best software company in the world, but I've learned so much from them, and that's the point. It's not about being the best. It's a team play, so it's about being the best against yourself. And if you focus on this, I guarantee there will be space for all of you.
I completely see that, and I think that's one of the biggest takeaways for me is just yes, that transition and that time spent in an IC is so important, going back to the 10,000 hour rule. And yes, that transition into first line leadership, and I suppose that change in your focus is, will appear slow, but looking at where your career trajectory then heads off, I think it starts to, hit the ceiling and starts to peak. So focus, slow down, and by the sounds of things, the rest of it looks after itself. But Zahir, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing so much of your wisdom in your career. But to all our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. If you've liked what you've heard, please do subscribe to our various channels on iTunes, Spotify and YouTube. All the links are in the description below, but we look forward to welcoming you back for another session very soon. Thank you very much.